My child, stop what you're doing and listen, for this is not a moment to scroll past, nor a message to take lightly. I am speaking to you now, directly, urgently, because you've been standing at the edge of something I can no longer allow. You've prayed for signs, and this is your sign. Hear me. I'm sorry, but it's over. I am serious. These words are not punishment. They are mercy in motion. What I am ending is not your future, but your captivity. Listen closely, for what comes next will redefine everything. You have heard my whispers in the quiet of your nights, when the world grew still and your heart began to ache under the weight of its choices. You thought it was your own conscience stirring, but it was me, calling you softly, patiently, giving you space to listen, to turn, to come home. I have spoken through gentle moments, through closed doors, through the emptiness that crept in after every fleeting pleasure. I have waited beside you, unseen, hoping that you would feel my nearness in the loneliness you tried to fill with everything but me. But now, child, my voice is no longer a whisper. It is a call, firm, final, and filled with love that refuses to let you die where you stand. The season of silent warnings has come to an end. What you are feeling now is not rejection. It is awakening. It is mercy dressed in urgency. You have reached the edge of what I allowed, the limit of what grace hath been carrying. This is not because I am weary of you, but because I love you too deeply to let you keep living halfway between surrender and sin. I have seen the battles you fight in secret, the contradictions that drain you, the things you justify even as they poison your peace. You have said, I'll change soon, but soon has become years. And I, your God, have watched you circle the same wilderness, wounding yourself with cycles I never wrote for you. Hear me clearly now. I am calling you out, not to shame you, but to set you free. You keep asking for a new beginning while holding on to what must end. My child, you cannot walk into the next chapter of your destiny while dragging chains from the last one. My spirit has been nudging you, not because I wish to take something from you, but because I long to give you more than you've dared to imagine. Yet before I can place that new in your hands, I must first remove the counterfeit that clings to your fingers. That's why I say to you now, it's over. The pretending, the delay, the halfway living. It's over, not in wrath, but in divine resolve. I am serious, because your freedom depends on it. Do not harden your heart to this moment. This is not the sound of abandonment. It is the sound of rescue. You are being pulled from the edge of what could destroy you. When I raise my voice, it is never to frighten you, but to awaken the sleeping within your soul. I am calling you to stand, to choose, to walk toward me without hesitation. For this is the final call of my voice, not to end your story, but to begin it anew in truth, in peace, and in me. You have mistaken my patience for permission, but I tell you now, my child, patience was never the same as approval. I waited, not because I was blind to what you were doing, but because I loved you enough to give you space to choose me freely. Every sunrise that greeted you, every breath that filled your lungs, every time you escaped what could have destroyed you, those were my mercies, extended again and again in hope that you would understand what love truly means. But now, love must become pure. You see, love that continues to embrace what corrupts the soul ceases to be love at all. It becomes indulgence. I have carried you through mistakes and forgiven sins you've forgotten, yet I cannot allow love to become a shield for disobedience. Love protects, yes, but it also purifies. It calls what is wrong by its true name and demands that the heart return to holiness. My love is not weak, and it will not bow to the idols you've kept in the hidden corners of your life. I have watched you build altars to temporary things, to people who drained your spirit, to habits that numbed your pain, to the false comfort of pretending everything was fine. You told yourself it was love, but it was bondage disguised as care. You kept saying, God understands, and yes, I did understand. I understood your fear, your longing, your loneliness, but I also saw how those very things became the roots of compromise. You cannot serve me and your fears at the same time. You cannot say you love me while clinging to what I've asked you to release. Love must now be refined, stripped of sentimentality, and returned to truth. This is why my spirit presses you so strongly now, because I desire to make you whole, not half free, not half holy. My love does not excuse, it transforms. When I said it is over, I meant the kind of love that tolerates darkness in the name of peace. The peace you've been seeking will not come through avoiding conviction. It will come through surrender. You keep wondering why joy feels distant, even in the things you once begged me to bless. It is because my love is drawing you higher, away from imitation affection, and toward divine intimacy. I am not punishing you by ending what's impure. I am rescuing the real version of you, the one I formed before pain reshaped your choices. So hear me now. My patience was grace, but my purity is power. I am not walking away from you. I am calling you to walk away with me from everything that stains your peace. I have waited long enough for you to realize that what I offer is not a love that pleases flesh, but a love that perfects the soul. You keep asking me why certain doors closed, why people left, why the things you thought you needed crumbled beneath your hands. But I tell you this in truth. I am ending what has been quietly breaking you. You call it loss, but I call it deliverance. You see pain as punishment, but it is often surgery in disguise. You begged me for peace, and I answered by dismantling what kept you bound to chaos. My child, you prayed for healing, but you did not realize that healing begins where harmful things end. When I say, it's over, I am not tearing something precious from you. I am pulling you out of a fire that was slowly consuming you. You couldn't see it while you were inside it. The way your joy was fading, the way your spirit grew weary from holding together what was meant to fall apart. But I saw it all, every hidden tear, every night you told yourself, maybe it'll get better, while your soul whispered, I can't take this anymore. Understand this. I am not cruel when I cut things off. I am careful. I know how deeply you attach, how you give even when you're bleeding. That is why I had to intervene. The end I've declared is not to shame you, but to protect you from further decay. Sometimes you cannot heal in the same place you were wounded. Sometimes I must pull you away completely so the infection of your past can stop spreading into your future. You've mistaken endurance for obedience, but not every battle deserves your fight. Some things were never yours to fix, they were only yours to release. And now, I am helping you do that. I know it feels harsh. I know the silence that follows feels like absence. But I promise you, this sending is my compassion, not my rejection. The storm I sent was not to destroy you, but to wash away what you were never meant to keep. One day, you will look back and see that the ending was the first true act of mercy you ever received. You will thank me for what I took because you will finally see what I was making room for. My child, I am ending what hurts you because I cannot let you keep calling pain love. I am setting you free, even if you call it loss. The story is not over. The wound is just closing so the heart can live again. You have carried burdens that were never yours to bear, weights that I tried to lift, but you kept clinging to as if they defined your worth. You keep saying, I'm strong enough, I can handle it, but strength was never meant to replace surrender. You have mistaken endurance for faith, But true faith is the willingness to lay down what no longer belongs in your hands. I have watched you pray for peace, even while clutching the very things that steal it. You keep wondering why rest never lasts. It's because you're still holding on to what I've been trying to take from you. I cannot fill hands that refuse to open. I cannot pour new oil into a vessel that refuses to empty itself. My child, the weight you carry is not proof of faithfulness. It's evidence of fear. You don't trust that I'll hold what you let go of. You've carried other people's expectations, their pain, their chaos, trying to be the savior when you already have one. You carry guilt for things long forgiven, shame for mistakes I already erased. You've carried disappointment like a second skin, replaying old failures as if you could rewrite them through regret. But hear me now. You were never meant to carry what only my shoulders can bear. When I said, "Cast your burdens upon me," I meant it. Yet you continue to pick up what I lay down for you. I know why. Because you fear the emptiness that comes after surrender, the quiet that feels too vulnerable. But that emptiness is not loss. It's preparation. It's the sacred space where I rebuild you. When you keep holding what I'm asking you to release, you tell me you trust your grip more than my grace. That's why your spirit feels tired, not because I've abandoned you, but because you've tried to be your own rescuer. I am not asking you to be strong. I am asking you to be still. Let me carry the things that have been crushing your joy. Let me lift the memories that replay like anchors in your mind. You were not made to walk through life bent beneath invisible burdens. You were made to walk upright, clothed in peace, anchored in love. So, put it down now. The guilt, the fear, the person you couldn't fix, the outcome you can't control. Trust me with the weight. For when you finally release it, you will feel something sacred, not just relief, but resurrection. And that is where your healing begins. You keep asking me why something once beautiful now feels heavy, why the bond that once brought joy now drains your peace. But, my child, I can no longer bless what keeps you from becoming who I made you to be. There was a time when I permitted it because you were still learning the language of love, still discovering the difference between need and nurture. I watched you hope. I saw your prayers. I even held your tears when you pleaded with me to make it work. But I am truth, and truth cannot bless what love has turned into idolatry. You've been trying to keep something alive that I have already declared finished. It's not that I never loved that connection. I did, but I love you more. I will not bless what keeps you bound, even if you call it loyalty, even if you call it love. There are relationships I allowed to shape you, but not to sustain you. Some people were meant to teach you, not to travel with you forever. You keep asking me for peace in the same place I've been asking you to leave. I know you fear being alone, but loneliness in my will is far safer than companionship outside of it. You have mistaken familiarity for covenant, but covenant must be anchored in truth, not comfort. You cannot heal in an environment that feeds your wounds. You have prayed for restoration, but what you really need is release. When I take someone out of your life, it's not rejection, it's redirection. I am cutting the cords that keep you from rising. I know it hurts. I know the silence that follows feels like loss. But you cannot receive my promise while holding hands with what contradicts it. You've built altars to memories that no longer serve your future, and I am coming to tear them down, not to leave you empty, but to make room for something sacred. You keep saying, "But I love them," and I say to you, then love them enough to let them go. Let me deal with what only I can change. Stop trying to resurrect what I have lovingly buried. My blessing will not rest on what refuses to bow to me. When I said, "It's over," I did not mean you failed. I meant you finally reach the moment of truth, where your loyalty must shift from people to purpose, from what's fading to what's eternal. And though it feels like loss now, one day you will understand. This separation was your salvation. You keep trying to fix what I've already ended. You keep holding on to the illusion that if you just do more, say more, pray harder, you can make things return to how they were. But I tell you now, that illusion must shatter. You were never meant to carry the responsibility of outcomes that belong to me. You have confused stewardship with sovereignty. You think faith means fighting until it works, but real faith is knowing when to let go and trust that I still reign over what you release. The illusion of control has exhausted you. It's why you can't rest even when you lie down, why your heart races even when you pray. You've been trying to manage what only I can move. You built plans on assumptions that were never mine, and when they began to crumble, you mistook collapse for punishment. But it was mercy, my mercy, dismantling your self-made security so that you would finally lean on me, not your own understanding. You have tried to keep everything predictable because uncertainty terrifies you. But control is a counterfeit comfort. It makes you feel safe for a while, yet it isolates you from surrender. I have watched you tighten your grip on things slipping away, as if your effort could make them stay. But the harder you hold, the faster they fall. You were never meant to be the anchor. I am. So I am allowing the illusion to break. I am shaking what was built on fear, exposing what you called faith but was really self-reliance. And though it feels cruel, it's the kindest thing I could do. For only when you lose control do you finally find peace. You cannot worship me and your plans at the same time. You cannot say thy will be done and still demand that it looks your way. This moment, this unraveling, is sacred. I am teaching you that freedom is not in holding on, but in trusting me enough to release. The illusion must die so that true faith can live. And when it does, you will see, you never needed control. You only needed me. You think I am pushing you away, but I'm really pulling you forward. You've mistaken divine redirection for rejection because it hurts, because it feels unfamiliar, because the road ahead looks empty. But listen to me, my child. I never walk away from you. I walk ahead of you. What feels like abandonment is often the sound of doors closing behind you while I open gates you cannot yet see. You prayed for purpose, for clarity, for peace, and this is my answer. I am redirecting you. I am rerouting you from destruction disguised as comfort, from delay dressed as loyalty. I am taking you off roads that lead nowhere so you can finally walk the one that leads to destiny. I know you feel the sting of what I've ended. You've asked, why not me? Why now? Why this way? And I whisper to your soul, because I love you too much to let you stay small. You were starting to settle for less than what I called you to. You began to shrink yourself to fit places that could no longer hold the fullness of who you're becoming. I saw you losing yourself just to be accepted, dimming your light so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable. But I didn't make you to blend in. I made you to stand apart. That's why I'm calling you out, not to isolate you, but to elevate you. This redirection is not punishment, it's protection. What you thought was rejection was actually me shielding you from unseen harm. You didn't see the traps ahead, the heartbreaks I intercepted, the losses I turned into lessons. Every no I gave was wrapped in mercy. Every closed door was an act of love. You may not understand it now, but when you look back, you'll see the pattern, how every detour led you closer to purpose, not further from it. You will see how I was never saying, you're unworthy. I was saying, you're chosen for something greater. So, don't mourn the roads I've blocked. Thank me for the ones I'm building. You are not being left behind. You are being led ahead. Let go of the idea that rejection means you failed. It means I've seen something you haven't, and I'm steering you toward it. One day, you'll see that this path, though painful, was perfectly designed to bring you home to yourself and to me. I see the tears that never fall, the ache you carry in silence when no one else is watching. You tell yourself you should be strong by now, but strength was never meant to mean pretending you don't hurt. I know the kind of grief that has no words, the kind that settles into the chest and makes it hard to breathe. You think I don't see how much you miss what once was, but I do. I hear the conversations you rehearse in your mind, the what-ifs you whisper to the dark. You grieve not only what ended, but what could have been. And I understand. I, too, have known the pain of love refused, of mercy rejected, of watching hearts turn away. I wept over those who would not receive my embrace, and I weep with you now. Your tears are not weakness to me. They are proof that you love deeply, that your heart still feels, still cares, still hopes. But hear me. Grief has a holy purpose. It softens what pride hardens. It clears the fog from your vision so you can finally see me again. Don't rush this process. Don't shame yourself for feeling what I created you to feel. Grief is not punishment, it's transformation. It breaks what must break so that something more enduring can take root. The pain you feel now is the soil in which new peace will grow. You think you're falling apart, but really, you're falling into my hands. Every sob, every sigh, every breath that trembles with confusion, I catch it all. I am not distant in your sorrow. I am inside it with you. Do not go back just to silence the ache. Do not return to what I've ended just because grief feels unbearable. You will only delay your healing. Stay in the place of pain long enough to let it cleanse you. Let it strip away illusions and false hopes. Let it draw you back to me, because I am the only one who can turn your mourning into meaning. One day, you will see that the tears you cried were watering the ground of your next beginning. You will look back and realize that every time you broke, I was shaping you, not to lose more, but to love better. So, weep if you must, my child. But know this, even your tears are not wasted. They are prayers that your heart doesn't know how to speak, and I answer everyone. You keep asking me what's next, but before I reveal it, you must understand what I am doing right now. I am making an exchange. You see, every time I ask you to let go, I am not trying to leave you empty. I am making room to fill you with something greater. You've been holding on to fragments, thinking they are treasures, but I am offering you wholeness. You've been clinging to temporary love, and I am trying to give you eternal peace. Every loss in your life that came through my hands was an invitation, an exchange between what fades and what lasts forever. You cannot receive resurrection while gripping decay. You cannot walk in newness while chained to what's dying. My child, release is not robbery, it's investment. You let go, and I multiply what remains. I know it feels unfair. You gave your best, you poured your heart out, and still things ended. You keep thinking you've been robbed, but you haven't lost. You've sown. The pain was the plowing of your soul, and the tears were the rain that softened the ground. What I am doing now is not taking, I am trading. I am exchanging your sorrow for strength, your confusion for clarity, your heartbreak for holiness. You asked me to bless you, and this is how I do it, not by adding more weight, but by freeing you of what cannot carry my glory. You thought I would rebuild on the old foundation, but I am creating something entirely new. Stop looking at what's gone and start expecting what's coming. My plans for you have not changed. They've deepened. The pruning you feel is not loss, it's preparation. Every time I remove something, I replace it with myself. You are not empty. You are being refilled with peace that will not leave you, joy that will not betray you, love that will not fade. The exchange is already in motion, even if you can't see it yet. Trust me through the in-between. For every tear you shed, I am planting beauty. For every broken dream, I am writing a truer one. You will not end this season in ashes. You will walk out adorned with purpose. This is my promise to you. When I ask for your surrender, it is never to strip you bare, but to clothe you with something divine. You've noticed it, haven't you? The silence that follows after the storm, that quiet that feels too loud, too long, too empty. You wonder if I'm gone, if I've withdrawn, if your obedience led you into isolation. But listen, my child, I am still here. The silence is not absence, it is sanctification. You are not being punished, you are being purified. I know the sudden quiet unnerves you. You were used to the noise of chaos, to constant motion and distraction. Now that everything has stilled, you're forced to face yourself and me. This is where transformation begins. Growth doesn't shout, it whispers. Healing doesn't rush, it roots. The gardener is always silent when new life is being buried beneath the soil. You think nothing is happening, but everything is. In the stillness, I am rebuilding you from the inside out. I am teaching you how to breathe without fear, how to live without noise. This silence is not a void, it's a womb. Something sacred is forming in you, patience, discernment, stability. The peace you've been praying for is being born right here, in this hush you keep mistaking for abandonment. I am closer than I have ever been, but I am speaking differently now. Not in thunder, but in whisper, not through signs, but through stillness. You keep asking for direction, but I'm teaching you dependence. You keep wanting answers, but I'm giving you awareness. Do not rush to fill this silence. Don't run back to distractions just to escape discomfort. Today, listen. Let your spirit adjust to the quiet. This is the part where roots go deep, where you learn that my presence is not proven by activity, but by peace. You are not forgotten. You are being focused. The silence after separation is not the end of the story. It's the holy pause before revelation. Trust the stillness. Let it stretch you, steady you, strengthen you. For when I speak again, you will not only hear me, you will understand me. You keep trying to recognize yourself through the eyes of who you used to be, but that reflection no longer fits. The old you, the one who tolerated what broke them, who mistook survival for strength, who apologized for existing, has been laid to rest. That version of you was necessary for a season, but it cannot enter what I am building next. You are not who you were, you are who I am forming. You've been shedding layers, fear, guilt, false identities, and though it feels like loss, it's actually resurrection. What you are feeling now is not emptiness, it's rebirth. You've walked through endings in silence because I was preparing you for emergence. And now, in the stillness after all the breaking, something divine is stirring within you. The rising of a new identity, one that finally mirrors my image instead of your wounds. You've carried the weight of old labels far too long. The voices that told you you're not enough, you're too much, you'll never change. I am silencing them one by one. I am rewriting your name in places where the world tried to erase it. Every time you chose forgiveness over bitterness, every time you got up when no one noticed, every time you cried out and still trusted me, I was sculpting you. You thought your pain disqualified you, but it was the very thing shaping your anointing. You are not a sum of your failures. You are evidence of my grace. Stop calling yourself by yesterday's shame. I have called you by a new name, and heaven already recognizes it. This new identity will feel unfamiliar at first because it's not built on fear, it's built on freedom. You will no longer shrink to fit places that cannot hold your purpose. You will no longer depend on others to tell you who you are, because you will finally know it in me. I am raising you up with new vision, new strength, new clarity. What used to tempt you will lose its hold. What used to wound you will no longer define you. You will walk differently because you will see differently. You will speak with authority because you will know it comes from love, not pride. The old you broke so the true you could bring. And though you've walked through fire, not a single part of you will remain consumed, only refined. This is not your ending, my child. This is your becoming. Now the mist begins to clear. You've wondered why I allowed certain things to fall apart, why I seemed silent while your world shifted beneath you. But now, as light breaks through the fog, I am showing you what you could not see then. You prayed for clarity, and this is it, the revelation of why it had to end. You see, not everything that looks good is godly, and not everything that feels right is right for your soul. I watched you pour yourself into things that were never meant to hold your heart, and though I warned you gently, you mistook my caution for delay. So I let what was false collapse, not to punish you, but to protect you from building your life on sand. You didn't see the cracks forming, but I did. You saw connection. I saw dependency. You saw loyalty. I saw bondage. You saw potential. I saw the pain that potential would cost you. And though you called it love, I saw the hidden thorns that would pierce your peace. That's why I stepped in. You think I took something from you, but in truth, I saved you from something that would have taken you. I ended it before it could end you. The separation was mercy. The silence was safety. The heartbreak was heaven's intervention. You don't realize how close you were to losing yourself completely. That's why I said, it's over. Because if it wasn't, you would have continued shrinking until you disappeared. Now, as you look back, you'll begin to understand. The unanswered prayers were redirections. The closed doors were boundaries. The disappointments were divine delays. Every no was a not this way. You see it now. The lessons wrapped in loss. The freedom disguised as pain. I know it hurt, but you needed to see that your worth isn't defined by who stays or what succeeds. You are valuable because you are mine, and I remove only what threatens that truth. The revelation of why it had to end is not meant to reopen wounds, but to close them completely. You were not losing. You were being led. You were not breaking down. You were breaking open. And as you understand, gratitude will replace grief. Peace will replace confusion. And you will finally see what I always saw, that every ending was a rescue in disguise. Lift your eyes now, for this is not the end. It's the threshold. Everything you've lost, every season that felt wasted, every tear you've shed, I have not forgotten one. You have walked through fire and come out purified, through wilderness and come out wiser. The promise I made over your life has not changed. It was only being prepared. The delay you mistook for denial was simply me ensuring you'd be ready for what's next. The ending was necessary because the blessing I am bringing requires a healed heart to hold it. My child, I am not finished with you. I am just beginning. What's coming will make sense of what broke you. You will see how every detour was direction, how every pain carried purpose, how every it's over led to something eternal. You have mourned long enough. It's time to rise. You have walked through ashes, but now beauty awaits. You have cried in darkness, but joy is dawning. I am restoring what was lost, not by replacing it, but by redeeming it. You will no longer chase love. Love will find you because now it will find you whole. You will no longer beg for peace. Peace will dwell within you because I live there. You will no longer fear endings because you will understand they are often doorways to beginnings too bright for sorrow to dim. This is the promise beyond the ending, that I turn every heartbreak into harvest, every tear into testimony, every loss into legacy. You will see my hand move swiftly now. Where doors once closed, new ones will open with ease. Where rejection once stung, favor will flow. Where you once doubted, faith will take root and bear fruit. Do not look back. The future I've prepared is already unfolding. I am giving you joy that doesn't depend on circumstance, purpose that won't fade with time, and love that will mirror my heart. What I am giving you now will not wound you, it will worship with you. This is the yes that waited on the other side of it's over. So, stand tall, breathe deep, and trust again, not because everything is perfect, but because you finally know that I am. The chapter that ends with surrender always begins with glory. And I promise you, this time, the story will not break you, it will bless you. Amen.